Alright, it is July 23rd. I'm still in Savannah, and this is part 2 of my trip here. Personalized tour of the building for game design and stuff like that. And I'm just going to be showing y'all video of anything cool that I find. Alright, while I'm here, I seem to have stumbled upon somebody is working on their project, and right now they're going to be doing some voice acting. They're going to be doing some voice acting for one of their, I think their senior project, which is basically their big final project that they have to do. Behind me is what they use. I'll get a better view of it, better shot of it. Behind me, you've got what they call the whisper room, and this is basically their whole thing for doing sound and voice acting. So I'll take some footage of the voice acting being done, and it will be awesome.
Dude, really? Did you? Yeah, I messed it up. Sorry.
That's alright. That's alright. Just retake it. Okay, so you gotta hit this again. Okay. It went off. And put this on first.
Okay. Can he hear us, or no? I have to be going back around.
Don't bother him. Just let him go.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll calm down in a minute. He'll do a couple bad takes, and he's not an actor. So
yeah.
Click on him. Yeah. Yeah. Here.
How's the breathing sound?
Sounds great.
Alright, I messed up on the did you seriously? Is that what I'm saying now?
Yeah, because thinking he's trying to embarrass the kid,
right.
So try to
seriously throw this on my head. Okay.
Yeah, accentuate the dude part, like dude.
Dude, okay.
Yeah, and then you go into everything.
Well, we're standing right at the river here in Savannah, and we see this giant thing, this giant ship just start rolling by. We're just absolutely amazed that the river can hold this huge thing.
Sailors alike. They would gather round and share stories of glory on the high seas, over a pint or two of fine brown brew, of course. Mr. Kehoe, this was his masterpiece, but also his calling card. You know, if I could do it for me, just imagine what I could do for you. convenient way to do things. But I do think it's funny they put a kid's playground on the dueling grounds. It just encourages them.
Ours is quite literally a city built on the day. And to further that point, take a look up or down the sidewalk. You notice it does have a little hump right about here. Well, that's where the original cemetery wall once stood. And you know, it's far easier to move headstones than bodies. Anybody standing on this side of the sidewalk is probably standing on our dearly departed. I find out if my group is skittish, but I think everyone just kind of they're dead, I suppose. Benches on a cold November night in 1901, Samuel T. Baker lay dying in a pool of his own blood. 1901, there was no fence here, no wall surrounding the place. Weeds were overgrown, headstones toppled. It would take the Daughters of the American Revolution to bring it to its current state. Now, Samuel T. Baker was an accountant, so one Saturday night he finished closing, made his way through the cemetery back to his home on Charlton. However, on this particular night he was stopped by two assailants. They tore away his walking stick and used it as a weapon against this 64-year-old Civil War veteran. Were it not for three young boys breaking curfew at the time, Samuel T. Baker may have died in the cemetery. Fortunately, they got the attention of the police. Officers Dwyer and Farrell responded. They helped Mr. Baker out, brought him back to the barracks. However, they then promptly booked him on charges of public intoxication. Why is this? Earlier in the day, Mr. Baker had bought a bottle of whiskey, but not for himself, for an ailing friend. It would seem during the scuffle, the bottle had shattered. It soaked Mr. Baker's clothes in alcohol. So the police held a position. Mr. Baker was just stumbling through the cemetery, drunk, fell over, hit his head on a tombstone. This was not the case. Mr. Baker's staggered walking and slurred speech were due to a severe blow to the head. Finally, Mr. Baker's son-in-law brought him home, but when he tried to help him out, Mr. Baker refused. He said, "No, just leave my hat and coat." It was 2-1. It's the only way we know there were two assailants. Mr. Baker died soon after of a severe skull fracture and multiple internal injuries. It is a little gruesome. Hardly a ghost story, right? There are no ghosts involved. Well, I would like you all to take one last look at the cemetery. I'm going to complete this story when we make our way back on board the trolley of the Doom.
I promise you a ghost story. See, a few years back, a Savannah College of Art and Design student named Maggie was sitting at one of these benches just studying for her art history midterms because, you know, who doesn't study in a cemetery? She was minding her own business. And she felt the presence of a man in a heavy woolen coat approach her. She thinks, how strange, it's almost summer. Why would he wear such a heavy coat? She takes a moment to look up, and she thinks she sees a costume tour guide. Because he has old-fashioned clothing, he has a handlebar mustache, and she can see some blood running down the side of his face. Yet, as she looks on, he disappears right in front of her eyes. She's not the only one to have seen a man matching Mr. Baker's appearance. Many Savannahans have seen a man always walking down Abercorn, always disappearing at one of these park benches. Or perhaps Mr. Baker is still haunting the place, trying to find his anonymous assailants and still trying to seek his revenge.
Alright, that's the end of part 2 in my trip in Savannah. Tomorrow I am going back to Erie, but until then I'm going to kick back, relax, do the video, and enjoy me some ice cream. So I'll see you guys next Thursday, and this has been Wheel of Fish.